It's time for the show about the people and the places of the Carolinas with the occasional visitors. In addition to hosting the award-winning syndicated TV show Life in the Carolinas, Carl White writes a weekly syndicated column and now hosts this weekly show, the Life in the Carolinas podcast. Now you can hear the story about the stories. And now, here's your host, Carl White.
Dale Isom, welcome to the podcast studio.
Hello, Carl. It's good to be back.
Well, I'm used to seeing both you and Michelle sitting with us, having a conversation. That's the way it's always been, but she's not with us today. She's busy doing Santa's work, I'm sure.
Yeah, she's busy being grandma, and she had planned to come, but had some last-minute scheduled things come up, and so she's being grandma at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I think that might be maybe her most important work.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
That's good stuff. Yeah. Well, Dale, let's have a talk. We're here sitting at the Christmas season. We're obviously the room is all set. The stage is set for us to celebrate the holidays. Yep. And I know that's been an important time of the year for you and Michelle forever, I guess, right?
Yeah. We've been Christmas folks for a long time. We can't go to Pigeon Forge without visiting the Christmas Inn and the Christmas shop, and no matter what time of year it is. So yeah, we love the season.
Did you grow up that way? I mean, like your parents and her parents, were they Christmas people?
They were. I have really fond memories from childhood of Christmas morning and the family up bright and early, and the night before we would be sent to bed so Santa could come, and I just remember my sister and myself having our bedrooms back to back or side by side, and our doors opened against each other, if that makes sense. And so I would sit leaning against my door. We weren't allowed to be out of our rooms.
Right.
She would sit leaning against her door, and we would talk about what Santa was going to leave under the tree. And
so your expectations?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Were you pretty close?
No. We always had bigger dreams than reality.
Right. Oh, well, that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
Growing up, I mean, we're now spanning some territories because you came from a good family. You had rich history there, but you've created an amazing family, and those traditions have grown in a much bigger way, probably.
Yeah. I'd say if Michelle was sitting here, she would say we're the most blessed people, and we really feel that way. We were blessed after a rough start with having children to have a son and a daughter, and enjoy that time watching them grow up and getting to be part of their Christmases. And now the two of them have a total of 5 kids, so we get to celebrate with 5 grandchildren, and yeah, it's wonderful. I keep telling my kids I'm happy to have more.
Yes. And to which they say,
they're thinking about it.
Like, a little break, please, Dad.
Yeah, my memory of how tough it is to be a parent kind of goes away when I get to hang out with the grandkids. But it's a big job to be a parent.
Yes. You know, when in our conversations over the past few weeks with so many people talking about the Christmas season, growing up, those family memories, some of those conversations have been really interesting. Different people of different ages, but there seems to be a great commonality that when we use that term, the spirit of Christmas, we seem to use that a lot. It seems like in deeper conversations, when we kind of extrapolate from that expression and how we live our lives, that the spirit of Christmas for many people, maybe it's not called that in April and May and June and July, but it's the same. If you're a Christmas person, you have that spirit of Christmas, which is really love and compassion for other people, right? If you've got it, it's 12 months a year.
Yeah, no doubt that is true. If I mean, not to get on the spiritual side of things too much, but of course, fine. Christmas is recognition of God sending His Son Jesus to be with us and show us the best life to live, and then going to the cross and bearing the consequences of our sins. So those that hold to that belief hold to that belief 12 months out of the year, and it impacts how they treat other people and what they spend their time doing.
Yes. Well, I think it's a wonderful time of the year, and your faith and your life practices, all 12 months. It's nice when we can have that warm feeling all the time.
Absolutely. And we worry about our traditions and what the future holds, and will things continue. And, I believe as long as we're making those deposits in our kids and in our grandkids, our traditions, they'll carry on. They may add some things, they may subtract a few things, but I think those family traditions will continue.
Yeah, that's a great thing. Dale, a lot of changes in your life now, at a time when you have served your community in many different ways. One wonderful part of service that you and Michelle both participated in happened this past weekend, and I loved the idea of the coat program. That simple idea. It's simple, but it's bigger than that when that's what you need, right?
Yeah. And Michelle, it's not an original idea, but 25 years ago, she said, we really ought to do a clothing giveaway, a coat drive, and serve a breakfast. So for 25 years, we've been doing that through our church at the Wilkesboro Church of Christ, and she's kind of the spearhead and the spirit behind it, and keeps us moving. So we had that this past Saturday, and just had a wonderful 3 hours of meeting new families and hopefully meeting some needs. It was a good opportunity too for our church members to all come together. We probably had 40 volunteers show up to work So
is that program just for people within your church, or is it opened up to the community? How does that work?
Yeah, it's open to the community, and we put it out there in several ways, through the newspaper, through posters, Facebook, of course, these days. And sure. We've had as many as 400 people show up, and thankfully this past Saturday it was a smaller number than that, which maybe meant that people weren't in quite the need that they've been in the past, but it gave us opportunity to really meet and spend quality time with the families that did come.
Sure. It was also a little warmer.
Yeah.
It's amazing what the actual moment in time will do to you. Like if it's warmer, it's not going to be cold this year. Then 4 days later it's freezing.
Yeah. Well, and we gather clothes really all year long. We have a large clothing closet that we store in, and we always have from infant to old folks' clothes.
Yeah, sure.
So we try to meet all the needs.
So it's always there.
It's always there.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would like to make sure people understand that. We call it the King's Closet, and we've served families that have had fires and specific needs like that. But yes, anytime anyone has a need for clothing, if they'll contact the Wilkesboro Church of Christ, we'll be more than happy to bring them in, let them do some shopping.
Right, sure. Yeah, that's great. I love that idea. And that's free. So it's free to those who are in need.
Yeah, that's why I air quoted shopping, because it doesn't cost anybody anything, and we're just happy to serve.
Yeah, that's great. Let's talk about this year and a little bit of a retrospective, and taking a look back at some of the challenges and some of the great victories this year. You had Carolina in the Fall, which is an annual tradition for you and your family. How did that go this year?
It went great. It was our second year back meeting in person after COVID, and things went really well. I think we had our largest turnout for Friday evening. The park was full. People were in the street at the back, and so it was really a good Friday evening. Saturday threatened rain all day. We did get a sprinkler too, but not bad. But that probably stopped some folks from coming out. So we were about 2/3 full on Saturday, but it was a great weekend. Lots of fun. Again, it's free, so as long as we can do it and do it for free, we're gonna keep on doing that.
I think the area itself has there's been an evolution of what's available for people from an entertainment standpoint, and so many things that are free. I mean, and it's not as if it's a small concerts. Some great entertainment is available to people in this region.
Yeah. We started our music journey about 10 years ago at Talia Espresso down Main Street in North Wilkesboro. At that time, there really weren't any stages with live music, and so in working with the Kruger brothers, we decided, well, let's go on this journey.
Sure.
Build a little stage there in the coffee shop at Talia, and Kruger brothers came and gave a free show to start us off and packed it out, and I don't know how many hundreds of shows we've had since then in our home and
Sure.
at Talia and at the Heritage Museum, and then at our own venue, the 1915. So it's been a fun journey, meeting lots of great people, meeting lots of fun artists, and just having a great time.
I think that's where we first met, isn't it? I think it was at Talia's during. It was at one of your music events, and I think that's where we did meet.
I remember that. Yeah, absolutely.
And you shared your vision of what you wanted to do, and it was a big vision, and it happened.
Well, our hope was that by planting a seed, we'd see it grow in the community, and I tried the other day to sit down and count the number of stages that have been built in this 10
Right.
years, and they're everywhere, and there's live music all the time, and so it really, I in no way point to what we'd started doing 10 years ago as the catalyst or the reason, but for whatever reason, in 10 years, it's certainly changed dramatically.
Well, you were certainly a big part of the blend of everything that's happened, and people have to be inspired to see that it would work, right? So there was, a big festival that people would pay to go to, and it's grown so much more than that now.
Yeah.
To where, as you said, there's something good and great every month somewhere, and many times, multiple times a month.
Yeah. We our kids at church sing a song. It only takes a spark to get a fire going,
Right.
and maybe we were part of the spark. But
Yeah.
however you look at it, the fire's going very well.
Yeah, I think that's it's good because it's more than just a momentary success, because when an area begins to identify itself because of the entertainment, the music, combine that with what's always been in this region, which is the hospitality, and then the natural resources. Oh my gosh, it's a place that people want to come.
Yeah. I mean, you live here, and sometimes you forget just what's
Right.
around you. But yeah, the people that come from out of town tell me what they see when they come, and so I get to experience our hometown through those visitors' eyes, and they sure see a beautiful place with lots of resources, as you say. I mean,
Makes you feel good, right?
Yeah. I mean, our trail system and lake and Stone Mountain, all the amazing things that are here that we get to have all the time.
Yeah.
We're just blessed folks.
So 23 was a good year?
Feeling good and thankful for the year. Yeah, absolutely.
So 2024, tell me what's the vision you and your family have cast for 2024?
Ooh, wow. Let me think about that just a minute. Continue doing a lot of the things that we've done, of course. One thing that has happened that I'm kind of waiting to understand was I was elected mayor of Wilkesboro, and so I'm a bit unsure of what demands that's going to place on me.
A lot. A lot.
I registered today for a course
Counseling? I recommend a good therapist, Dan.
I registered for a course put on by the UNC School of Government. It's a 2-day course in Greensboro, so I'm hoping and that's somewhere mid-January, so
Okay.
hopefully I'll get a better understanding of what I've gotten myself into. But
well, I think because of your history, of course, people know you to be a great leader, and you understand how to build things and take care of problems. So I think that's why you became elected. And I like the fact that you're saying, hey, I'm in this spot now. When I look at I feel like I've gotten to know you real well over the years. And if I look at, those activities, okay, Dale can absolutely be a good mayor. But the fact that you're saying, hey, I'm going to now invest more time into furthering my education and to be the best that I can in the job, I think that's fantastic.
Well, I know I have a lot to learn.
Right.
I've already reached out to the other council members and asked them for guidance. And, I've got things in mind that I want to deal with. I want to see accomplished in the next 4 years, but it's going to take more than me, and so I want to listen to the group and listen to the citizens and try to make decisions that are beneficial long term to our community. We face amazing opportunities. But we also face, some pretty serious issues. Housing is a huge issue in Wilkes County. Childcare, just really, really struggling in that area. And, better paying jobs.
So the list is long.
It is. I wanted to mention one more because I'm really struggling with it because people are bringing it to me. Is the growing homeless group of folks here in the community and how how looking forward, how do we deal with that? And it's a tough issue.
And it's especially complicated for a community that's built on the idea of compassion and mercy and doing those. So the same things that we talk about as being the spirit of Christmas is, how to be kind to our fellow man when things are difficult.
Yeah.
That's not an easy one, is it?
No, it's not. And, there's issues there. There's mental health issues. There's substance abuse issues. There's lots of things that, it's easy to say, well, we just need to help them find jobs and get them homes and that sort of thing. And all those things are right and good. But, how do you move someone from a situation where they're having those kind of struggles to being able to move into our society and hold a job and have a home. So tough issue.
Well, I'm glad we have Christmas right now.
Absolutely. Sorry, I didn't mean to get serious.
Oh, no. Well, I think Christmas is a real serious thing. And I think this time of the year, I think it's important that we not only talk about, the joy of the season and what kind of excites us, but there is another side. It's also the time of the year that we have more suicides than any other time of the year. It's the time of the year that when you do have family and you have that love and support, that richness that's there, and there's always somebody got your back, everybody doesn't have that.
Yeah. And even in the situations where people have love and support, we've put forward as a culture, we've put forward this view of Christmas as being this time of joy and happiness and getting everything you want, and and it's rare that happens. People are dealing with losses in their families, they're dealing with sickness, health issues. And I'm sure I'm like everybody else. I've been fairly depressed the day after Christmas before. Sure. Where my expectations hadn't been met, and so while it's a season of joy and love and connection and all those things, we need to realize that it's also a time when people are struggling, and how can we help?
Right. My hope is that this time of the year helps remind us of that, and where we take a little bit longer and pause from whatever we've got going on that keeps us, trudging ahead and being so aggressive and having to accomplish a lot of things. And that time where we stop to think about the people we love, our family, and those we don't, who need more support. So instead of giving, 2 days, maybe we give 2 weeks or a month, and the more we can spread that time of caring out, I don't know. I kind of feel like it might be a little bit more contagious, Dale.
Yeah.
Contagious in a good way. Like it feels good. Not just feels good to help, but I think I think it's more than just the helping of others. I think it grows us as well. So it's in the giving and compassion and love that we give to others that we grow more and become more fulfilled too.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think you're exactly right. Mm-hmm. You know, I guess maybe the thing we should do more of is pausing and look around, you know,
sure.
See others and see folks maybe that are hurting and we can reach out to. So, yeah, paying attention.
Yeah. So here we are. Christmas is with us. Let's talk about the gingerbread competition, Dale, because I know that you have been very supportive of the gingerbread competition, the 1915, your beautiful old historic building over there. And I can say that, right? You and Michelle and your family have done this thing to preserve this building. Let's talk for a moment about literacy. Now, I know you're coming in as a mayor, so it's important for you to support literacy, and not only in reading, but then also in math, you know, just so folks can, you know, get a little bit better on their finances. So there's a lot of things that go into literacy.
Absolutely. And, you know, the future of our community is rooted in what we teach our children. You know, when we had small children, we loved to, you know, read them a book or two before they go to bed at night. And my son, I'm thinking at 3 years old, could quote every page of a book. You know, he
Right.
couldn't read yet, but I could flip the page and he would tell me, you know, because we had read it to him so many times. And now with grandkids, I'm getting to experience that again. I'm getting to be reminded of how important it is to open up that book and to read to the child and to share the adventures with the child. And
Does that still excite you?
Oh, yeah.
You still love doing that?
I love doing that. I try to do it every day with my grandchildren.
Okay.
I figure if they see me opening a book and loving what I'm reading, you know, that impacts them, and I love to read anyway. My library is overflowing, and a couple of years ago I emptied it out and gave it away because I was kind of out of room, and so
you started over.
So I started over, and it's about full again. So.
Okay, so during the holiday season, Christmas season, what's your go-to to read to your grandkids?
Well, without a doubt, we're reading. You know, The Cat in the Hat and that series. Absolutely love those. It's just a great adventure to take a kid on. You know, the art's great, the story's great, and so we're spending a lot of time with Dr. Seuss.
So Dr. Seuss is great. I mean, I love the rhymes. I know you're doing it for your grandkids, but does a little something for you too, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you know, it takes me back to when I read the exact same book to my children 25 years ago. Takes me back to when my parents read me books. You know, it's those, as we were talking about traditions. I mean, those kinds of family traditions are so important.
Yeah, I think I know you're right. I mean, I know you're right because everyone I chat with recently during Light Up Downtown, this was in North Wilkesboro, we were talking to lots of people, just asking them to share their Christmas memories. And you've done that on our Christmas shows before. You've been on how many of our Christmas shows? Several. You're on every year. You're on this year. And when I listen to people talk about their memories, it's still whoever's talking about it, when they're sharing that memory, they're smiling, you know, and they soften, you know, they just kind of slow down a little bit. And because I'm asking them, you know, on the spot, it's not rehearsed, no rehearsal, and you just see that memory flooding back, and then the smile comes on their face. Sometimes a tear, depending upon what the memory is. That idea of slowing down a little bit and listening and remembering, how important do you think that is, Dale?
I think it's very important. As you were going through those things, all kinds of things were flooding back into my mind. I mean, from Hot Wheels to bicycles, and the traditions that my family had. I'd like to know the hours that went into hanging icicles.
Oh my goodness!
Perfectly
yes.
on the tree. And now my dad was an engineer, and so every icicle had to be,
just right.
The right length on the left side, the right length on the right side, and so
none of this tossing.
No, that would have been a disaster.
Right.
So everyone had to be perfect and reflect the light just right, and so I have such great memories of those hours spent putting up the Christmas tree. So when I got married, I expected icicles. Michelle's family had never heard of icicles.
Oh.
So that was a tough first Christmas, sorting out
your
the
traditions.
two different traditions and what's going to be our tradition.
So what did you settle on?
Certainly no icicles.
Michelle didn't have time for that, right?
That's right. And Santa delivered toys to our house open and set up and ready to play when you got up in the morning. Santa delivered toys to Michelle's house, wrapped and ready to open. And so, how was Santa going to come to our house?
Right.
And so we had to sort through all of our upbringings and our traditions and decide this is what's going to happen in our home. So.
No fights.
Oh, certainly no fights.
Yeah,
no.
Good.
No.
Good. I'm sure she would have won, but
it was a compromise.
Okay.
Santa comes to our house like he did to my house. Our Christmas trees look like her Christmas trees,
right.
And so we.
So do you open gifts at night or in the morning?
We open in the morning.
Okay.
Typically, the kids pull so hard, that you open one.
Okay, just one gift.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. But Christmas morning was always the gather around in a circle and just go around, and each person gets to open one at a time and celebrate, as we go around.
So that's how you still do Christmas?
Still do it that way.
So your family all comes together. Do you have a meal Christmas Eve, or do you have one on Christmas Day? How do you do that?
Yeah, and it can change year to year because now we've got
more
marriages into
right.
our family, and so it depends on what's happening at their homes as well. So, so Michelle and I are easy, and so we say you work that all out with the other families, and we'll figure out how to make ours work. So
the good thing is you get one that come to see you, but that's it. Then you just go visit other homes, and you don't have to do anything except show up.
That's right.
Do you like that?
I do. Yeah. I love to. Get up on now. Christmas morning, it's just me and Michelle, and so we get up and have our Christmas together, and then we go to the kids' house and see what the grandkids got, and so that's a nice change.
Do you remember the first time that happened? The first time that it was just you and Michelle on Christmas morning?
Carl, you asked me a good question there, and I should remember that better than I do.
Well, it hadn't been that long.
No, well. That's what I was trying to remember back to is when Daniel and Caitlin were living in Nashville, and
right,
I
can't. Well, that's a little.
But I don't know. We just love to be with family so much that being just me and her on Christmas morning is great. But we really love it when we're all together.
Oh, sure. So if you wake up together, you're going to find yourself at somebody's house before the day's over.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the memory of our kids, waking up at 5:30 or whatever on Christmas morning, coming into our bedroom,
right,
Mom, Dad, can we go downstairs?
Right.
See if Santa's come, that kind of thing. And I'd look over at the clock, and if it's 4 o'clock, I say, no, go back to bed. He's not come yet, And so,
Right.
But yeah, we remember, I remember, Michelle, we talk about it often, our memories of how it was when the kids were 5, 6, 7, 8 years old.
And now your little kids have their own little kids, and they're getting the early morning calls.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And
Nice.
they're from 2 to 12, so it's a fun age for us to be part of, from the tiniest to the almost teenager now.
Yeah. That's great. When you look at Wilkesboro now, once again, your new town as mayor. When do you officially take office?
December 4th.
Okay, so just a few days away, you're officially mayor. So will that be in time for the lighting?
No, this December 2nd is Christmas in the Commons. And
so are you there as well?
I will be there, but I will be very much in the background.
Right.
I want the current mayor, Mike Inscore, to.
Right, Mike's going to have his last one.
I want him to have the best
Absolutely.
time ever. So
Yeah, nice.
he's been such I'll say this to Mike Inscore has been such a fantastic mayor leader for our community. He served on town council and as mayor for 26 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, what a record of service. So,
And he had worked a full-time career before that.
that's right.
So basically, he's taken his retirement years and turned that into public service.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to say about someone that would give 26 years to public service, basically uncompensated. I mean, the pay is so small.
Right.
To take on the problems that are out there, deal with upset citizens, and that I just admire.
Yeah.
What he's
Well, you'll know
done,
soon.
so. Well, already I'm getting calls.
I'm going to imagine Michelle's not going to be excited about you going for 28 years.
No, of course, anything can happen, but I went in saying I'm 64. 4 years, I'll be 68. I think that's enough.
Right.
Time for some younger person to step up and
Right.
and take on that role. So 4 years, it will be enough for me.
So 4 years at this point's enough. It's not a hard out, but that's what you're anticipating.
That's what I'm anticipating.
All right. Okay. Good. Well, in 4 years, we'll sit and talk about that.
All right.
See?
All right.
See. Well, we'll talk before then, obviously, many times, but. This year has been kind of rough, and I really appreciate those moments when I give you a call, and you were always very supportive, and that's an awfully kind thing to do, Dale.
Well, you're a good friend.
Well, I appreciate that. Christmas is my favorite. It's just because we can have these type of conversations and do good things. It just kind of opens up for a lot of thoughts and looking in the past, looking in the future, and just it's easier to feel better. So it gets my biggest support system that I can give. I love the summertime, with the founding of our nation, and we even have an American tree up front, which has all American ornaments on it from the White House Historic Society. Then we have our Carolina tree. So every year, people will send us ornaments, and then we collect them. And just seeing all these communities we've gone to and their ornaments and having that all on one tree in one area, it's just wonderful for reflecting on how good we have it in the Carolinas. We're not perfect, but we never said we were perfect. We don't even try to be perfect. We just try to be good. And I think we are good.
Yeah, totally agree. I'll have to spend a little time looking at your trees after we finish up. We have one that from our travels everywhere Michelle and I've gone, she'll always buy a Christmas ornament with something about the place we've visited, and so I love that tree. Takes me down memory lanes. But to your point, I mean, I do think that the season maybe people think about deeper things, more important things, it's certainly a time of reflection and a time of thinking about the future, and next after Christmas, of course, New Year's, and so
That's right. Here we are.
It's definitely a time where you're thinking about important things.
I think so. I like to think about this year, what we went through, and then kind of imagine what we're going to be experiencing next year. I try to think on the affirmative side and look at where the opportunities are rather than how miserable things.
Carl, let me just say, I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for Life in the Carolinas. I'm thankful that somebody takes the time to tell the good news, and you've always been dedicated to that, and so I commend you for.
Well, thank you, Dale. I appreciate that. Well, it makes me smile inside.
It makes us all smile.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing. I can't wait for you to see the Christmas show this year and see all those amazing stories. Tim was almost eaten by a gingerbread man. It was like we were doing the promo for the gingerbread competitions coming up, and unbeknownst to Tim and the other camera person, there was a monster gingerbread that was about to take him out, but they survived. They survived. Tim didn't know about it till somebody had taken a picture and sent it over, right, Tim?
That's right, yeah.
And he was like, "Oh my gosh, our life was spared." There were so many dogs this year. People with their dogs. Now, I love dogs, as you know. I love pets, and people don't take their pets to an event like that unless they know that people are going to be entertained, right? Unless it's a service dog, of course. I saw some great service dogs, but there was one guy that because I met a lot of great dogs, and there was one guy. I thought maybe it had been an adopted dog, but I said, "Hey, buddy, that's a nice dog." And he says, "Yeah." I said, "Well, let me ask you about your Christmas." He picks the dog up and puts him on his shoulders, so the dog's head's over here, his legs are over here, and he wasn't a pup. I mean, he was a big dog. And this guy just loved his dog, and I thought about, I don't know, I just, to be that free, and to be out he was with his friends, and they were just having a wonderful time. There was a veteran. There's a lady in a wheelchair, and she had her service dog, and her service dog would let her know if her glucose is, she's a diabetic. So whatever kind of power they have, they're able to sense that, and then it alerts the owner. I'm sure you've heard about the service dogs. This dog is part of her life. It's saved her life. That's pretty good, right? There were great Pyrenees. There are all kinds of dogs. That's another thing that's special about small communities, where everybody, I don't know if you sensed it, but it was like everybody was just kind of chilled and relaxed. Did you sense that?
Yes.
Because I know you and Michelle were there, and it was just like it was. Tim kept telling me I needed to do like the opening for the show and the close, and he says, "Don't yell, your mic is here." I was so caught up in the environment. It was just so loud, I could barely hear him, and then I understood what he was saying, and then I just slowed down. And I think I even said, Tim, I said, and this year we're just going to slow down. Now, it took me, 2 hours to slow down?
It was about like an hour and a half.
Yeah, an hour and a half. But it was the energy of the moment. But I think I picked up on the vibe of everybody else and just relaxed and just joined that energy level. And it was fantastic from that moment on.
Yeah. It was a really special evening, I thought. I got to see a lot of folks I hadn't seen in a year, and catch up and talk, and nobody was in a hurry. It was just really.
So it felt good.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Did. Hoping for the same thing on December 2nd over in Wilkesboro.
Sure. You'll have
in the Commons there, just for that same spirit.
I'm sure it'll be there. I mean, we've covered that 2 or 3 times, so it's always been that way there.
Yeah. I know we have snow coming this year. I can go ahead and predict snow.
Snow is absolutely going to be there.
It's going to happen.
All right. Yep. That's great. All right. That sounds great. Merry Christmas to you, friend.
Merry Christmas to you. Be sure to post, underneath when you release the podcast, the date, the schedule for your Christmas show. Hearing you talk about it, I can't wait to see it.
It's going to be on Christmas week. All of our new shows are always on Christmas week. So we'll be building up to that starting next weekend with Christmas shows, and then going all. It's not this coming. Anyway, we'll all of December up until the second week of January, we have Christmas shows, and the new show always airs on the week of Christmas.
Well, I will set my DVR starting next week.
Yes.
and get all these Christmas shows recorded.
Well, you should, because you're on at least 2 of them. All right, Dale. Thanks a bunch, buddy. Thank you so much.
It's great to see you. Thank you for having me in.
Thanks for listening to the Life in the Carolinas podcast. If you enjoyed your time with us, please visit the show's website at lifeinthecarolinas.com. Join our mailing list, and we'll keep you updated every week on what we have coming up and other interesting things around the Carolinas. We value you as a podcast subscriber. We'll see you next week. And remember what Carl says, it's never a bad time for a good story.